41. Good afternoon, welcome to Turf Moor for the FA Cup 5th round tie between Burnley and Blackburn Rovers. A derby that for sheer passion bears comparison with the very biggest.
Think intense local derbies, think Merseyside and London, Glasgow and Manchester. But round here there's a rivalry every bit as intense. Right now, feelings are running high.
Passion.
Immense.
Hostility.
Intensity.
Bound by history, divided by deep-rooted rivalry. Founder members of the Football League both, Burnley and Blackburn, are separated only by a short stretch of the M65.
They're only 8 miles up the road. And when you're playing, you always want to beat Burnley, because they have been a good side, you know, a great side.
In my day, there was so much tension and hype in the week leading up to the match that I think the players were frightened to touch the ball.
You might be kicking them right, left and centre, but during the match, but after the match is over, you're the best of pals.
Famously, Blackburn came back from 3 goals down late in their 1960 quarter-final before eventually knocking their neighbours out. Burnley have never forgiven them.
Prior to the 1960s, there was quite friendly rivalry, but during the 1960s, this tended to spill over into some quite bitter rivalry. And really this has been fuelled in the last 10, 15 years, really, by the huge chasm that's opened up between the two football clubs. And I think to a certain extent there's probably been a feeling of resentment.
A resentment fuelled by Jack Walker's millions. While Blackburn's late benefactor elevated Rovers to new heights, Burnley very nearly sunk without trace.
This is an opportunity to remind that we're still a force in British football.
I've got the tickets already. I'm ready to go, and you might never know, I might play, I don't know.
This game, to the fans, the only worst thing that could happen to them would be to be relegated.
It's just like a Merseyside derby to us. It's more than that, and we've been so starved of these games over the last 25, 30 years. I think it's more important to Burnley. I think it's our time. They've had the best of it over recent times, over the last 30 years, and I think it's got to be payback time. I hope it is.
There's a bit of feeling around these parts for this one. It matters. A short journey down the M65, but a long way back if you lose. Turf Moor will be full to the rafters for the oldest derby of the lot. Here with us for this one, 3 guests who know all about local derbies: Alan Hansen, Peter Schmeichel, and a big welcome to Everton manager David Moyes. Recovered from yesterday, hopefully?
Yeah, recovered now. It's over now. We move on to the next one. We've got 11 Premiership games to play, and it's been a good season up to now for Everton, so hopefully we can keep it going. It
was quite heated in the stadium last night, and there's a bit of passion for this one here as well.
Not half. I mean, it was a great atmosphere at Goodison, and there's a great atmosphere here today. You can hear behind us just now.
Right. These are the sort of games that the FA Cup's supposedly all about.
The one thing that's certain here, this game will not be for the faint-hearted. We've heard about the rivalry, the hostility and the hatred, but the great thing about this fixture and the teams that have been selected is if that hostility spills onto the pitch, there's so many common influences on both sides. No, there is. I mean, you've got Savage, you've got Dickoff, and you've got Frank, Sinclair, so there's no problem at all.
Yeah. Are you aware of this local derby, Peter?
Well, I was aware that it was one of the fears, but I wasn't aware it was like this, and I've actually been looking forward to it, just to see what the atmosphere is like. Yeah. This is like the old style stadium as well. Blackburn are used to go to every Premiership ground. You come up here, and the atmosphere here is just fantastic, and you know it's all about wanting to win the game today, and I actually think, listening to that behind you there, Burnley, they're a step ahead here.
Peter's right. I mean, David and I were talking 5 minutes ago about this lot here. It's actually quite terrifying.
It really does matter. I mean, you managed at Preston just down the road, so you'd be aware of the local.
We played Burnley a lot, and it was a big rivalry against Preston, but nothing as much as what it is against Blackburn. I've got a couple of people who played with Blackburn, my physio, and they tell me about the rivalry here, and there is a lot of hatred between the two teams. So it'll be interesting to see how the game goes.
OK, let's hear from the Burnley manager. Steve Cotterill's with Ivan Gascon.
Steve, I'm not sure you've tasted a Burnley-Blackburn encounter before. Is it living up to expectations so far, the atmosphere?
Yeah, I think it is. Yeah, obviously we get changed in the away end, so we can only hear the away fans at the moment, but hopefully that will change by the time kick-off comes.
What are you expecting from today?
I'm expecting a passionate game, a good game hopefully, and just hope we can do ourselves justice.
And how are you going to do that? How are you going to cope with the Premiership visitors today?
Well, the same as we've coped with the others. We've given respect, we've got ourselves organised. You just hope for no individual errors today and a good team performance.
And just one up front?
Always. It's not a big surprise, that one. You know, we've played it all season, and we have to play one up front because we've only got one striker.
You got a good feeling about today?
I have a good feeling about every time before we kick off. I'll let you know after about 20 minutes into the game.
We'll see you later.
Thank you. Cheers.
That'll be a first, an interview 20 minutes into the game from a manager. Quite looking forward to it. But Burnley, clearly the underdogs, even though they're at home. I mean.
Yeah, very much so. I mean, they've had a great run. They beat Liverpool. They've got, they've generated great revenue, but all good things must come to an end. I think that Blackburn have got all the attributes for this match. Just a bit like Bolton going to Oldham, where they will be resilient, they'll put their foot in, they'll be ultra competitive, and I think eventually the quality will take over.
He talked about the fact he's only got one striker, so he has to play that well. But Ian Moor scored a few goals for them, especially in the cup.
He has, yeah. I saw them beat Liverpool and I saw them beat Aston Villa here earlier in the season, and it'll be a tough game. They'll play Ian Moor on his own up front, and but they're well organised, and I think this will be a tight game. It'll be hard for both teams.
I don't know this boy at all, but I've just looked at the clips, and the ones that are coming up, left foot, right foot, good in the air, and the last one on the shoulder, the last defender, this is the first one. This is a great header. Great movement, fantastic finish.
In a lot of ways he's very similar to Paul Dickoff in a lot of the things he does. He works very hard. Yeah. No, he plays the lone striker and runs the channels well. And he's got a decent record of goals in the lower leagues, in the Championship as well. And obviously
the left foot coming up. Two good feet. And then Peter, the last one, composure.
It is. I mean, there's no doubt that he's a very good player, and he'd be very important from, obviously, whenever they get the ball, he's got to keep the ball up and get the team forward, give them a bit of breathing space. But I think it's about so many other things today. It's so much about the heart. How much heart do you put into this today? Has Blackburn got the heart to come and play on this pitch? Because the pitch is not very good. Have they got? Do they actually understand how much it means for the Burnley supporters?
Well, they must be getting an idea by now.
We're getting an idea.
Many guys have played many guys. I've never ever heard anything like that. We're actually stuck right between the two sets.
Going for the home side, or?
I just think, going from the Liverpool game, how they performed against Liverpool, looking at the pitch here, looking at the supporters, yeah, I think Burnley, they've got a chance.
I'm going to sit in the fence. I think it might need a replay.
Whenever we get managers in, they always say that. And Alan will go for Blackburn. He always goes for the favourites. Right, Burnley versus Blackburn for a place in the quarter-finals of the FA Cup. Our match commentators here at Turf Moor, Mark Lawrenson and Guy Mowbray.
Thanks, Gary. Well, for neutrals, and you won't find many here, it's easy to feel like uninvited guests at a private party. It's one where hosts and visitors have known each other forever. They live and work alongside each other, but they've never made any secret of the fact that they really don't get on at all. And don't think that the interest in this tie is strictly confined to this part of Lancashire. It's even made the pages of the Kentucky Advocate newspaper in the USA, thanks to a reporter whose boyfriend is a Burnley fan. And let's face it, they know plenty about a good derby in Kentucky. Somebody else who knows plenty about a good derby and plenty about Lancashire football is Mark Lawrenson. Mark, looking forward to this one.
Very much so, Guy. I mean, I've already had abuse from a Burnley supporter in front of me because they're due to play Preston in a couple of weeks. So I want to come here to commentate. And it tells you something about the situation today. It is a massive, massive game for Burnley. And you'd have to say, looking at Blackburn, if they don't fancy it, and I think that is a big if actually, but if they don't fancy it, they'll get a real game today. I was here for Burnley when they beat Liverpool the other week and beat them in the end very, very well. They're very organised, very difficult to break down. They don't create many chances, but they're a hard team to play against.
Cheers for Mark Hughes as he wanders over to take his place in the away team dugout. Let's have a look at the teams. Well, Burnley's, captained by former Chelsea and Leicester defender Frank Sinclair, shows a couple of changes from their last outing, which was a 1-1 draw away to Crewe. 19-year-old Gary Cahill on loan from Aston Villa, and their FA Cup talisman Ian Moor both returned from midweek rests. Sinclair, Moor, Peter Whittingham, Tony Grant and John McGreal all have Premiership experience. For Blackburn, it's 4-4-2. One change from last week's 3-0 win against Norwich in the Premiership. Lucas Neill is restored to right-back, with the captain of New Zealand, Ryan Nelsen, moving into the centre of defence. The captain of South Africa, Aaron Mokoena, has been dropped down to the bench. It is a strong-looking Blackburn bench. Not as strong, perhaps, Burnley. Lee Roche was once at Manchester United. John Oster used to play for Sunderland and Emerton. Well, Frank Sinclair has been terrific since joining Burnley from Leicester. He's played in 2 FA Cup finals with Chelsea, and he faces a few old friends today, including his ex-Leicester colleague Paul Dickoff, Rovers top scorer. He got a cup final suit with Arsenal 12 years ago, but he never got out of it to play. This surely is just his sort of game. Boos raining around the stadium from one part of the ground as the Burnley team uses right across the PA. Blackburn fans are doing their best to out-sing and drown out their hosts. What a big game for Burnley manager Steve Cotterill. The man in charge of proceedings today is Mike Dean. If you like your FA Cup omens, well, he's already seen a shock in the Cup this season. He was the referee for Oldham's 1-0 win over Manchester City in round 3. Many clubs do this these days. Burnley do it week in, week out. You get the feeling today it means just a little bit more, certainly to the supporters. We're all set for the oldest derby of them all. They've been looking forward to this one for quite some time. Certainly, Burnley have been waiting to put one over their arguably more illustrious neighbours, certainly more illustrious in recent years. Mike Dean has checked with both goalkeepers, and we're all set to go at Turf Moor. How do you like your derbies? If the gauge is a long history of rivalry, passion and pride, well, this has got the lot. And there's the added prize of a place in the FA Cup quarter-finals at stake today. First free kick of the day has gone Burnley's way. There'll be plenty more of those. Burnley's goalkeeper is Danish, Brian Jensen, ex of West Bromwich Albion. He punts long upfield. It's met by the head of Nils-Eric for Blackburn. Sinclair is beaten to the loose ball by Pedersen. And it's over with Mo Camara, former Wolves full-back, been an ever-present in the Burnley side this season. Dwelt too long and allowed Dickoff to nick it off him there, though. Here's Brett Emerton. Boos every time a Blackburn player is on the ball. Brett Emerton is still on the ball. And then he runs too close to the considerable frame of Sinclair. Obstruction, surely. Johansson checked the run of Michael Duff.
I think we're going to get loads of that for the first 20 minutes, Guy. As you rightly say, I think Mike Dean's in for a very busy time in that period as well.
Just a word in the ear of Blackburn's Swedish international defender. And Frank Sinclair stands over the ball, ready to find a player in claret and blue up the top end of the field. Just got a glimpse of Gary Cahill, who's gone forward for this. Young man on loan from Aston Villa, and he's won the header with ease. He's tried to find Ian Moor. Just broke behind Micah Hyde, and Tugay plays it just in turn behind Paul Gallagher. Plenty of time for John McGreal to steer it back to Jensen. challenge from Emerton, wins the ball back for Blackburn. Easily inside Valois. Valois got back at him well. And McGreal will delicately chip up to halfway. Tugay got his foot in. Moor met by a strong Andy Todd challenge. Moor sets up again, trying to get on the end of the Peter Whittingham pass. And Nelsen has been forced to put that one out. Moor with such an incredible FA Cup record since joining Burnley. 12 goals in 15 appearances. Steve Cotterill has developed a reputation as being a master tactician, and he's always thinking ahead of the next move. McGreal has got too much behind that, surely. It's a bit of a test for Brad Friedel. He's equal to it. And he's adjudged to have been fouled as he was just nudged over the byline by the Burnley man.
That was only a friendly nudge, though.
Well, Brad Friedel knows about these games. He played in both fixtures the last time these sides met. It was a Division 1 fixture back in the 2000-2001 season, and those two games ended up in 2 Blackburn wins. 5-0 at Ewood Park, 2-0 the last time they locked horns at Turf Moor. It's made it an even longer wait for Burnley to try and exact some revenge. Emerton seen plenty of it, and that time he was clipped by Micah Hyde. McGreal puts it out for a Blackburn throw. Neill finds his fellow Aussie Emerton, and it's returned. Good play between the pair. Neill delivers. A little too deep for Pedersen, and indeed he can't keep it in play. A player who's been in good form, Morten Gamst Pedersen. It's taken him a while to adjust to life in the English game, but 4 goals in his last 8 games. And there he is on the ball looking for Paul Dickoff. Savage. Ball into the middle. It's Dickoff who attacked it. Cahill shielded him away. Here's Sinclair. Puffs out his cheeks. Dispossessed by Pedersen. Which side can get a hold of the ball and keep it for any significant period? You would surely expect the Premiership side to do that. It's Andy Todd. Emerton got through the hole and ran it too close to Tony Grant. Camara has kept it in. Todd forced to put the ball over the touchline for a Burnley throw-in, just in front of the Blackburn manager Mark Hughes. Well, he should be well used to a good derby. Manchester, Merseyside, London, the South Coast. He played for Blackburn against Burnley the last time the sides met. And he said he never felt intimidated, he felt inspired by the big occasion of a local derby. Gallagher disagrees quite strongly with the throw-in that's gone against him. The wait is over for Burnley fans. Now they hope the day has a happy ending. McGreal. Camara was swiftly in. Grant. Moor. Mike Dean blows for the earlier challenge. It was a late challenge. And a Burnley free kick. Always a difficult day for referees. They've got to gauge the mood. Little late, Paul Gallagher. That was, I think, the Camara challenge from earlier on, and he won the ball pretty cleanly. Here's Valois. Savage easily able to get it away to Dickoff. Plays it back confidently to Brett Emerton. Ian Moor into the challenge, and unfairly into the challenge it would seem. as Neill seeks out Morten Gamst Pedersen. Sinclair found him though. Tugay. Sinclair will do battle again with Pedersen and won the header and then won the volley clearance too. Savage. The boos, if anything, are even more intense whenever Savage or Dickoff are anywhere near the ball. Hyde. Here's Duff. Sold Hyde a little short. Pedersen down to ground. Not too much of pressure applied by Micah Hyde, but it is a free kick to Blackburn. I think we expected this sort of start to the game, didn't we, Mark?
Yeah, I think so. And to be honest with you, Blackburn do look a better side. I know it's very early on in the proceedings, almost 8 minutes, but they've got the ball down better, they passed it a little better, and they look a little bit more professional at the moment. But of course, they haven't scored.
Here's Tugay. Mix up in the Burnley communication lines, but Brian Jensen in his bright green top is able to claim quite comfortably. We'd spot him on a dark day. He's a big lad as well, Brian Jensen. Pedersen. Tony Grant comes away with it for Burnley and then didn't give Frank Sinclair much option at all there. A little too hurried, Burnley.
Yeah, it's difficult as well for them. We just need Moor up front. You know, if they can't sort of play to it, they've got to play it amongst themselves, and Blackburn are in very quickly at them.
Here's Gallagher. Whistle's gone. Offside flag had been raised. I know. Was it just for a foul, that?
No, it was for offside. It wasn't for offside early on. Don't know why, though.
Seems to be helped on by a Burnley man. Paul Gallagher sees the free kick awarded against him. Brian Jensen has been in Burnley's goal since the end of October. He's kept his place despite the #1, Danny Coyne, being fit again. Doesn't concede many at Turf Moor. 7 clean sheets in his last 8 at home. Pedersen. And McGreal finds Jensen. Thought about bowling the ball out quickly and then decided better of it. John McGreal's an old campaigner, been around a bit with Tranmere and Ipswich. He was Steve Cotterill's first buy when he took charge at Turf Moor. There's Robbie Savage. Gallagher. That was a good ball if Emerton can reach it. McGreal has got to it before him. Brett Emerton will be 26 on Tuesday. It's Whittingham who launches away. It's gone out of play. It's a Blackburn throw-in. Steve Cotterill, one of the new breed of energetic managers, always prowling the very edge of his technical area. Micah Hyde sees a decision go against him now. Blackburn get on with it quickly. McGreal only away as far as Pedersen. Cahill further clear. Savage finds Jensen. Cahill skewed off the edge of his right boot, and Blackburn will try and keep the pressure on inside Burnley's half of the field. Sinclair. Grant, cushion touch back to Micah Hyde. Rather more industrial boot downfield from Duff, and Ian Moor felt he was being checked back by Nelsen. Mike Dean waved his claims away. Jensen off Duff for the Blackburn throw-in. Did Ian Moor have a case here, Mark?
I think it was a little case of 2 3s and a 6, to be honest with you. I think they were both at it.
Strikers always ask. You'd probably say as a defender they usually get as well.
You could possibly say that.
Morten Gamst Pedersen has retreated to the very edge of the perimeters of the pitch, right in front of the Burnley fans, taking his life into his own hands. Throws in. Savage back into the mix. McGreal got himself in the way. Lucas Neill scuffed it. Tugay. Pedersen. McGreal is there. He's an immovable object at the back for Burnley. Now it's Whittingham. Dispossessed by Savage. Sinclair. Grant given no time at all by Robbie Savage. Dickoff. Pedersen with the run inside. Dickoff still scrapping, and Burnley have stuck together well and cleared. Here's Valois. Valois backs himself in the race against Lucas Neill. He'll have to try again though. Jean-Louis Valois played really well in Burnley's third round win against Liverpool. Had a spell with Luton. Spent the last 2 seasons with Hearts in the Scottish Premier League. He's 31 now, did the rounds in France, but I know you were at the Liverpool game as well, Mark. From what we saw of him then, he was a very tricky customer.
Yeah, he played well that night. Himself and Chaplow, I thought, were Burnley's best performers.
Richard Chaplow now has gone up a notch to West Bromwich Albion. Savage. Pedersen, rather awkward ball back towards his own penalty area. Hansen dug him out of that spot of bother. Neill. Straight to Tony Grant. Savage quickly in. And he's won the throw-in. It was all about FA Cup upsets, Robbie Savage. He was in the Leicester side that lost to Wickham, if you remember, 4 years ago in the quarter-finals. Dickoff. Emerton. Micah Hyde stood in the way. Good feet from Valois. Should beat everybody out of play. Ryan Nelsen there thought about going to pick the ball up himself, but decided against introducing himself to the Burnley supporters. I don't know what sort of an occasion they have like this back in New Zealand that he could compare it with.
Australia at cricket, I think.
Nelson's a defender who arrived at Blackburn from the Major League in the United States, been playing for DC United. I suppose they have any local derbies either. Cahill went to ground as if caught by Paul Dickoff. He's got nothing for it though. It's a Blackburn throw. Sinclair, nice. Nelsen. John McGreal is there for Burnley. It's a hopeful one forward. Ian Moor gave chase, but Nelsen was able to calmly bring it down and find Pedersen. Looked to be a bit of a hack from Sinclair. Got his first taste of what Blackburn fans think about Burnley just over a week ago. Frank Sinclair, he actually went to watch the Blackburn-Chelsea game and apparently got a bit of stick while he sat in the stands.
Probably needed a balaclava, I would have thought.
In from Savage. Jensen was struggling and just popped over the crossbar by Morten Gamst Pedersen.
That is a great delivery from Savage from the free kick. Jensen decides to come, he has to get it. He didn't get anything of it. It's very, very unlucky from Blackburn's point of view. He's nowhere near the goalkeeper, was he? Probably a softer contact. It's 1-0 to Blackburn. They have looked the better team, Blackburn, haven't they? They've got more options when they're on the ball. But obviously at the moment, defensively, apart from that mistake by the goalkeeper, Burnley have kept them at arm's length.
And you do feel a little for Ian Moor. He's been chasing lost causes thus far.
I hope he's had plenty of rest this week.
He was actually left out at Crewe on Tuesday, given a rest with this game in mind. Scored his 50th goal for Burnley at Coventry last Saturday. Never been prolific. Has been in the FA Cup though. Grant. Valois to Camara. Here's Moor. Got the ball to his feet for a change. Still got the ball. And used it well. Valois. Tony Grant checks back. Valois has sought out Michael Duff. Here's Frank Sinclair. He's going to hit it. And Pedersen saw that coming. Burnley fans are buoyed by seeing the ball spend some time in Blackburn territory. Grant. Valois has peeled away and is found by Tony Grant. 4 claret shirts in the penalty area. Valois, cross took an instant deflection. Burnley corner. Now the volume levels rise.
Well, you'd be hoping for a good delivery here. The first real occasion and attempt for Burnley to put Blackburn under some sort of pressure defensively.
First corner of the game. We've had to wait until the 18th minute for it. Tony Grant, formerly of Everton and Manchester City, played in derbies for both those sides. He's in charge of delivery. McGreal has moved forward. It's a different one. It's played instead for the blast of a shot. Instantly blocked, drilled back in, and McGreal tried the little deft touch to deceive Brad Friedel. He was offside anyway, I think. That's what Blackburn were appealing for.
It was actually an extremely well-worked corner. The block came in from Blackburn. As the ball came back in from Duff, it was, if anything, McGreal got too much on it. Actually, it was Whittingham, wasn't it?
Blackburn were appealing, long and loud. Assistant referee eventually did raise his flag, but John McGreal showing that he's got the predatory instincts up there. Or not. Never scored in the FA Cup. Has scored one for Burnley. I think that was a slightly more conventional defender's goal. Goals have actually been hard to come by for both these sides this season. Only Stoke and Rotherham have scored fewer than Burnley in the Championship. Only West Bromwich Albion have netted fewer than Blackburn in the Premiership. Let's hope that changes here today. And we have some goals. Burnley are trying to get forward. This is Duff. Savage got the ball away from Micah Hyde. Sinclair finds Whittingham. Savage in again, beat Hyde to it, and was caught. That's how Mike Dean interpreted the situation. Savage has a few words to say to his teammates. It's Nils-Eric getting the brunt of that.
I think he was saying to Johansson, how about a shout? Was originally, man, he could have been shouting in this noise. Guy, you'd struggled to hear him, certainly.
He has got the free kick for that challenge, at least. Oh, what? It's Robbie Savage's 6th appearance for Blackburn, and he's already made friends with his teammates. Gallagher. McGreal has been there every time for Burnley. Moor left it for Micah Hyde. Now Michael Duff. Sinclair is trying to set Duff away. A miscue from the 33-year-old. Arrived at Burnley initially on a short-term deal, but just before Christmas he signed an extension that'll keep him at the club for the next couple of seasons. McGreal. Camara. Todd has time aplenty. So too Jensen and Nelsen. No pressure on the ball at all. Gallagher. He was trying to give himself every second available, but let the ball run too far in the end. He disagrees, of course.
That's a good ball from Nelsen, wasn't it? You saw when Camara had the ball, the Burnley left back. You know, to deliver it to the front man's not good. Blackburn have all the time in the world just to get the ball down. The two centre-backs just come out on the ball, and it's easy at the moment for them.
I think Peter Whittingham is the player who's supposed to be getting forward from midfield to support him when he can, but he's not being allowed to do that, is he?
Well, no, because the service isn't good to Ian Moor.
Cahill. Jensen launches long. Nelsen is hooked over his shoulder and clear. Sinclair. Whittingham couldn't turn around Ryan Nelsen, who's been impressive since joining Blackburn. Tugay. Savage. Neill. Being put under pressure by Valois, but with the calmness to find Nelsen. And now it's Nils-Eric Jensen. Brett Emerton has come over to the left wing just for a moment. He's got Jensen in support here. Jensen's cross blocked the moment it left his boot. Off Sinclair it goes. It is a corner despite Sinclair saying the ball had already gone out for a throw-in. Of course his fans will agree with him.
Yeah, there's a difference. No great pressure on the ball from Burnley, so Blackburn got lots of time, and completely opposite when Burnley have the ball.
There's Robbie Savage, right in the corner amongst the Burnley faithful. He'll enjoy that.
I'm sure he'll be used to it.
Well, it's not just in derbies where he gets this sort of treatment. Dickoff, out-muscled. Good defending from Moor.
He was actually a little bit unlucky, Dickoff, because the idea was very, very good. But well done to Moor, because he's a striker actually thinking defensive in his own penalty area.
Well, Dickoff did score the last time he was here in the colours of Leicester City. The 2-1 Leicester win. Sinclair. Nelsen, a little bump on Moor was spotted before the ball arrived. It's a free kick which Tony Grant will take. He just wiped away a little bit of mud from the ball before he decides. And he's left it instead to Jean-Louis Valois' left foot for a bit of in-swing. McGreal is forward. He's making movement now. Met by Johansson's forehand. Savage. Sinclair. Nelsen. Decided that the safest option was to put the ball out of play. And Frank Sinclair has taken it quickly. Valois, the shot's on, but the shot's away and well wide. Just got an opening and a sight of goal, the French winger.
He did well actually, because his turn was very, very good. It's just his strike wasn't good enough.
Scored just the one Burnley goal, Jean-Louis Valois. It wasn't a famous win this season. A 3-1 League Cup victory over Aston Villa. Villa and Liverpool, Premiership sides who have perished at Turf Moor this season. This one would mean so much more than the other two, though, to Burnley supporters. Here's Valois. Savage in pursuit. Camara. McGreal. Valois confronted by Savage. Good improvisation. Whittingham gives chase to try and get on the end of the flick. Best he can do in the end is put it behind for a Blackburn throw. "26 predictably intense minutes played at Turf Moor. Precious few goal-scoring opportunities, though, for either side. Gallagher. McGreal got his foot to the ball. There's Micah Hyde. Brunt. Back for the Burnley throw-in. There's the Foreign Secretary. Jack Straw is a lifelong Blackburn Rovers fan, and there he is sitting behind the goal in the away end at Turf Moor today. Foreign Secretary who travels the world, but nothing better than an intensely local affair. just behind Whittingham. Then followed through and clipped Andy Todd. Play will go on, Blackburn on the ball. Gallagher. Sinclair just flung his body in the way there. Here's Valois. Skipped past two challenges, kept his feet well. And for the clip at the end, he has got a free kick, Jean-Louis Valois.
He did really well, the referee, because he waited and waited. It was a poor challenge, and I think the ref's just going to talk to it. Is it Gallagher or Pedersen? That's good refereeing this time.
Nice footwork from Valois. There was at first a foul from Savage and then a lunge from Gallagher.
That's the one, the lunge from Gallagher.
In actual fact, Burnley wasted the advantage initially. But they have got a chance here. Valois and Grant over the ball. Michael Duff is forward. And it's going to be left to Valois. And it took two Blackburn defenders to flick it away for a throw-in. It will be left to Frank Sinclair to arch his back and get good distance on this. Try and hurl one into the penalty area. Sinclair obliges. Is that a push? Jensen was involved. Play went on. Referee didn't even need a second glance. And Blackburn have cleared. Here's Paul Dickoff. Dwelt on the ball. Frank Sinclair. Valois. Possession conceded all too easily by Burnley. Savage caught by a Savage-like challenge from Tony Grant. And he doesn't like it.
Well, he's got the ball, Tony Grant. The only thing is, it is a tackle from behind. Savage does have a case here.
Took the ball cleanly, I think. By the letter of the law, a tackle from behind can be penalised, should be penalised. Robbie Savage saw something of himself in that tackle. And in goes Savage on Tony Grant. Let's watch that situation. Emerton, forced wide. Jensen. Again, Brett Emerton. He's got Sinclair and Hyde to deal with. Couldn't get past the first obstacle. Thrown into Paul Dickoff, using his body to hold off the defender. Cahill goes in for the challenge, and it's just enough to force Dickoff off balance and put it behind for the goal kick.
I think if you were Burnley, you would just have somebody in front of Dickoff there from the throw, because the ball travelled a long, long way before it got to Dickoff.
Well, this was the half shout that Burnley put in for a penalty at the other end, Mark.
Yeah, I think obviously it was just... Again, it's 2 3s and a 6. I think the Burnley player goes down so easily. I think it was Duff, wasn't it?
It was. And there are the two in direct combat again, Duff and Jensen. It's out for a Burnley throw-in.
He's a very big boy to go down so easily, though.
Well known and trusted by his manager, Steve Cotterill. They were together at Cheltenham for a few years. Emerton. There's Camara. Valois helps it on and immediately runs for the return. Ian Moor has found him with that. Support wide from Camara. Valois might have eyes for goal. He's picked out Duff, or he nearly did. Brett Emerton saw it coming and retreated well.
Better play from Burnley, though. Just the ability to find the men this time, and also a little bit of movement.
And they had a few more men up there that time too. Moor will join the throng in the penalty area now for this corner. Duff has taken up the near post position. Mike Dean has just put a stop to a few words that were being said. And the assistant referee is having a word with Mike Dean here. Is that another missile on the pitch? Well, we had more than enough of that yesterday. Valois, unperturbed, will get on with taking the corner. Mike Dean has gone all the way across to the other side of the field, in fact, and he's reporting what just happened to the fourth official, Chris Foyt, and handed over whatever it was that was thrown. Money. It's no wonder these referees aren't rich men. Valois didn't really get a hold of it. Savage was there to meet it on the full. Savage again. Pedersen caught late as he offloaded the ball downfield. Robbie Savage puts in his 2 penn'orth, and it's going to be a word in the ear of Tony Grant. I think that's why Savage was having his say. Those two have already drawn the battle lines. Even Brad Friedel's come forward to have a word.
Yeah, I think Tony Grant's saying, what you're doing 40 yards from your goal, why don't you just go back there, dear chap?
Or words to that effect. Been quite a good week for Tony Grant as he trots across the sand and mud. He scored at Crewe on Tuesday, his first goal in over 2 years.
What's he got underneath his shirt, guy? Can you tell?
Couldn't see. It looked like
some kind of body warmer.
Some sort of polo neck. Skiing gear. Sand skiing. Sinclair pushed his teammate Micah Hyde out of the way. It's all a little congested in there. Burnley have now got some room to clear the ball and maybe spark an attack. It's Peter Whittingham, a young man on loan from Aston Villa, his second game for Burnley. Here he is again. Played it straight into Andy Todd though. Cahill felt he was being barged by Dickoff. Referee saw nothing wrong in that. Cahill's got on with it. Moor, out-jumped by Todd. And Dickoff is given offside. He waves his finger in disagreement. A few of the Burnley fans were waving their finger in different gestures towards Dickoff there. Jensen. Emerton swept it across to Pedersen. To me, Blackburn haven't been as much of an attacking threat since Emerton and Pedersen swapped flanks.
True.
That's Moor, but he's played it straight into the shins of Nelsen. Valois stood on the ball, presented it to Andy Todd. Dickoff. Plenty of space for Brett Emerton now, but he has to check onto his right foot. Tugay. Emerton. Pedersen. Emerton in space for him. Here's Brett Emerton, and it's a clumsy challenge from Micah Hyde. Blackburn free kick and a yellow card shown to Hyde as well.
Yeah, it's a good piece of skill from Brett Emerton. Certainly just flicked it through his legs and invited the challenge. Good position here for Blackburn.
Morten Gamst Pedersen with his left foot is the strongest candidate here. Robbie Savage will inevitably have a say. And Burnley have pulled everybody in claret and blue back into their own penalty area here. They're having a problem with the sun too. Doesn't often happen in Burnley. It's going to be Pedersen over the wall, and Jensen smartly across to palm it behind.
Yeah, in the end it's a good save this, because he doesn't see it till quite late.
Just dipped awkwardly in front of him too, didn't it? Got his hands down in the right position. Strong hands.
Yeah, one of the Burnley were turned his back as well, which wouldn't have helped him.
Corner swept in. Paul Dickoff with a firm head to it, too firm. Savage. Here's Pedersen. Not far away from Camara. That's better. Savage won the ball and kept it in. Half shouts of handball from the Burnley contingent. Savage gets on with the job. Dickoff. Pedersen. Nobody there. It's Jensen's all day long. The call him the Beast, you know, Mark. You can see why. Pedersen. Nicely done. Just behind Gallagher, though. Cahill sweeps it forward. Ian Moor gamely gives chase. Can only help it out, though, for a Blackburn throw-in.
After promising first 15 minutes from Blackburn, you just don't feel that Gallagher and Dickoff and Pedersen have actually linked particularly well. There's a save again from the goalkeeper, very, very good save. But they've had quite a little bit of possession, but the movement's not been great.
Dickoff. Tugay has played that one too hastily. It was straight to Michael Duff. Grant. Valois. That came Gallagher to challenge. Valois sensed that he was arriving and turned, but Burnley squandered possession anyway. Emerton. Nelsen. Emerton. A couple of nibbles at his ankles from Frank Sinclair. Burnley have won it back now, and it's an exchange of passes between Grant and Duff. Tony Grant. Camara. Camara's continued on his run, but he wasn't able to be found by Valois. Here's Neill. Gallagher kept the ball in a tight spot. Tugay hasn't seen as much of the ball as he would have liked, I'm sure. Neill. Pedersen upended as he played it back. He stayed down. Mark Hughes is furious about that. Straight to his feet. Back to his feet now is Pedersen, as Dickoff holds up the ball, but only temporarily. Ian Moor for Burnley. Now Whittingham. He'll have to chase alone. And Mike Dean has spotted an earlier foul.
Yeah, I guess Andy Todd. I think Andy Todd's dumped Ian Moor on his backside. Yeah, that's the one. That's a yellow.
Round the back of the shin pads, that one. Andy Todd's name being taken by Mike Dean, a player who's unique of those playing today, in that he spent some time on loan to Burnley at the start of last season, played 8 times in the claret and blue, and he's never really looked back since returning to Blackburn. He's regained his place in the team this season after injury, and now of course he wears the captain's armband proudly.
He's still smarting Mark Hughes from the foul on Pedersen, which 30 seconds later, because it wasn't given, ended up in a booking for Andy Todd.
It's actually a significant one for Todd too. It's his 5th of the season, and he will have to sit out a game. It's 2 weeks before Blackburn's next game, then they go to Everton. Minus Andy Todd. Friedel. Huge punt. Cahill was off balance, but still found Grant. Nice turn by Peter Whittingham, then hauled back surely by Savage. Did well to keep his feet. Valois, Camara. Micah Hyde is forward here. Good solid full-back defending from Neill. Throw-in taken quickly. Here's Valois. Grant points the way back towards the centre circle. Grant. Savage seized his opportunity to win it back. Neill. Offside flag is raised. Burnley asked a good 3 or 4 seconds before, and finally the assistant referee obliged and found that Paul Gallagher was the wrong side of the line.
Gallagher was just asking for the ball to be delivered a couple of seconds earlier, just as he was making his run. Todd, that's cool.
on his chest despite being surrounded by a crowd of players. That's not so cool. Morten Gamst Pedersen just lost sight of his bearings. Steve Cotterill, I think, will be reasonably happy as we approach half-time. 2.5 minutes of the first 45 plus stoppage time remaining, and his side have still not conceded a goal in the FA Cup this season. Valois. Pedersen nipped in to win it. Found Savage. Pedersen nicked it around Grant. McGreal makes sure that Gallagher can't profit from that ball in field. And here's Savage. I think you can tell that by the reception. Hyde. Time for Tugay. Neill. Just too strong for Paul Dickoff, but he will chase head down to keep this one in and keep Blackburn on the offensive. Dickoff swings it over. A real test for Jensen. It bounced so awkwardly in front of him.
Yeah, not only that as well, I think Brett Emerton made a late run into the penalty area and almost just took Jensen's eye off the ball. This is the one, it flicks off the back of Sinclair, just about to pick it up, Jensen, and he sees Emerton in his sights.
And Sinclair seemed to hurt himself, possibly in the way he landed there, because Frank Sinclair is now receiving some treatment. The Burnley captain, who won the FA Cup with Chelsea in 1997, was a runner-up some 3 years earlier, and it looks as though he might have played his last FA Cup minute for today at least.
I just wonder the way he's walking, and just felt the back of his thigh, whether he's tweaked his hamstring a little bit.
So Burnley are going to lose their skipper. They do have a ready-made replacement right back on the bench in Lee Roche, the former Manchester United junior. Steve Cotterill is passing the instructions down. There's Mark Yates, first-team coach, relaying those instructions. And there's some applause for Frank Sinclair as he leaves the field. Well, the injury, I think, was sustained a little before he jumped to try and block the cross. He's struggling there.
It's hamstring guy, that. No doubt about that.
Not the way Frank Sinclair wanted today to end. For him personally, at least.
Be interesting when he gets to the other end, where all the Blackburn fans are, as he walks off.
Yeah, he's got to walk the whole way round. Why didn't they go the other way? We're into stoppage time at the end of the first half. There'll be at least 2 more minutes. And Burnley are now getting ready to make the change.
Well, while this game's been intriguing, it's never really got going, has it? We were expecting blood and thunder, and it's more really been thud and blunder, I think.
Here's Valois. It's going to be a Blackburn throw-in. The change that Burnley are going to make is that John Oster is going to be brought on. Well, he does provide some attacking threat out wide. That will mean Michael Duff reverting to the right-back role.
Well, he's already gone there as well, hasn't he, Duff?
Tugay. Boy, does he like a fierce local derby. He's done 3 special ones now, as Tugay. Istanbul, Glasgow, and now Blackburn against Burnley. Off goes Frank Sinclair. There he is, walking rather gingerly in front of the Blackburn fans, who are not giving him a particularly pleasant send-off. Paul Dickoff trying to make a nuisance of himself in the Burnley penalty area.
Yeah, just a little chance he's trying to make for himself more than anything, but obviously very speculative.
He's got to clear both John McGreal and Jensen and get it down under the crossbar as well. Ambitious. Burnley have made the substitution. Frank Sinclair has gone down the tunnel, and on's come John Oster, a recent acquisition on a free transfer after seeing his contract cancelled by Sunderland. He's had a very, very difficult year off the field, John Oster, disciplinary problems. A loan at Leeds was terminated earlier, and Sunderland decided to end his long stay at the Stadium of Light as a result of that. Second chance he's got at Burnley. Dickoff. Challenge came in from Hyde, then had the ball pummeled at him. Savage has gone for goal. It was a first-time snapshot that was speculative. Blackburn fans showing their passion for their club. It's been said in some quarters this means so much more to Burnley. Blackburn fans have been keen to point out, no it doesn't. I was at the Blackburn-Chelsea game a couple of weeks ago and most of the songs were aimed towards this fixture even then. There's Todd, caught by Peter Whittingham. Just approaching the half-time whistle, Mark, what are your overall thoughts?
Well, I do believe that Blackburn on the ball do have a few more options, but in saying that, apart from one saved by Jensen from the free kick by, I think it was Pedersen, wasn't it? And that flicked head as well from Pedersen. They've had very little to shout about. The game's never really got going.
Here's Whittingham. Ian Moor checked his run in time. Hyde, is there to be one last Burnley chance before half-time? Oster needs to get a move on, and he's not got it right with the cross at all. It's going to be a throw, but there won't even be time for the throw-in because the half-time whistle has sounded at Turf Moor. We've got the commitment, we've got the passion. We've yet to see any really good football on Derby Day in East Lancashire. Steve Cotterill, I think, will be happy enough that it's goalless at the interval. But we need to find a spark from somewhere in the second half. At the break, it's Burnley 0, Blackburn Rovers 0. Thanks, Gary. And the cheers will tell you that the home favourites are retaking the Turf Moor field. Just thinking, Mark, Turf Moor is a bit of a misnomer today, really, isn't it? As we look back at the views from high up in the stands at this famous old ground, rows upon rows of terraced houses, and then we come into the stadium, which has stood here for many a long year, and there we are, not much Turf Moor.
I didn't know there was a beach in Burnley, central Lancashire.
Burnley were, of course, forced into a change just before the start of the second half, with Frank Sinclair limping off with what's been confirmed as a hamstring strain. Coming on in his place was John Oster, just his 5th Burnley appearance. Reached the semi-finals of the FA Cup last season, whilst with Sunderland, only to go out to Millwall. Can he play his part in a shock and a Derby Day win for Steve Cotterill's Burnley? The trusted sheet of paper, which is always full of notes by the end of a Steve Cotterill game, is out again.
So worry's already making notes, shoved him kicked off the second half. Does he know something we don't?
He's seen something already.
He's written attack in exclamation marks.
Well, let's hope so. Let's hope that goes for Blackburn Rovers as well. We could do with a few more chances to talk about in this second half. Any at all would do. It's Burnley, who are going to get the second half underway with Micah Hyde and Ian Moor. Mike Dean blows his whistle. And hostilities have resumed at Turf Moor. On the pitch, at least, it all passed off pretty peacefully in the first half. Here's Micah Hyde. Now Tony Grant saw the chance to shoot. Well, why not? 16 seconds into the second half, at least we've had a shot towards goal. Tony Grant obviously feels, after scoring for the first time in 106 games in midweek, that he's got the taste for it again. Rather cruelly, they actually tried to take the goal off him at one stage. It was deflected and there was a floodlight failure at Crewe. They said if it's abandoned, it doesn't count, Tony. He held on. Well taken down by Ian Moor. Nils-Eric with some good covering. And he plays the ball out of play, but that is a very promising start to the second period for Burnley's lone frontman. Hope he's taken on board lots of fluids and got his energy levels back up.
He just hopes to get some service, and he also gets a lot of help.
It's Michael Duff in a more defensive role for the rest of this game. He's going to throw into Micah Hyde. Return to Duff. Blackburn, of course, used to have a player called Duff of their own. Now doing great things quite a bit further south. Pedersen. Dickoff Claims he was being held by Gary Cahill, but Mike Dean has interpreted that the other way. Backing in, committed by the fiery Scotland international striker. He had a look, he put his arm across. It's another one of those half and half, isn't it?
Exactly. If anything, it was probably nothing, was it?
Big honour for Paul Dickoff last week. He was awarded we'll talk about that in a moment, because Burnley might have a chance here with Ian Moor. Got out of play for a goal kick, but he was quickly onto it, Moor. Yes, Paul Dickoff was given an award from Manchester City for scoring their best goal ever. I don't think it was the greatest goal ever. It was the one in 1999 that got them a playoff penalty shootout victory against Gillingham. It took it to penalties. Most important goal ever, anyway.
I was going to say, I bet the likes of Francis Lee would have had something to say that, wouldn't they?
Here's Robbie Savage. Touches to Tugay. Cahill got in Duff's way, but did the job of clearing the ball, at least temporarily. There's Tugay. Andy Todd. Only found Camara. Clearance wasn't the best. Emerton. Gallagher has the time and space to cross. It's a tester. And he's beaten everybody. Pedersen had a swing at it. Savage is still in there scrapping and has caught his man there. Micah Hyde down under the challenge. Never touched him, says Robbie.
Decent cross in from the right, wasn't it? This is the challenge. I did catch him. Caught his standing foot.
Definitely touched him.
Here's a cross. Cross is decent. I think Dickoff gets a flick on it as well. Just gets in front of his man, just there. And for a second, I think Savage thought it was going to bounce for him.
Up goes Jensen. Here's Grant for Burnley. Camara. Cross comes Lucas Neill. Ian Moor, dispossessed by Ryan Nelsen. McGreal, straight to Savage. Nelsen. It's a blast into Dickoff's feet. Neill. Good passing from Blackburn Rovers. Lucas Neill finally brings an end to the chain. And Burnley have a chance to move forward with John Oster. Duff. Whittingham, well taken. Took it away from Nelsen. Now Ian Moor. Grant. Valois. A buzz around Turf Moor as Burnley try and threaten here. Valois' progress is held up. Could still got a cross in though. He has done. Sliced across by Todd. Did it bounce behind? No. The ball's still in. And Oster has managed to shepherd the ball out for a Burnley corner.
That's really good play by Valois, because he slowed down the defender Lucas Neill, dropped the shoulder and got a decent crossing which just sliced off Todd.
Could have gone anywhere. Fired in flat, but straight onto Savage's head. Second chance for Oster to cross. He's got Savage to beat. He's done that. It's John Oster. Can he find a shot? Big deflection. Friedel can't prevent the corner.
That's clever play by Oster, because once he gets in the penalty area, gets past Savage, he knows no one else can afford to tackle him, otherwise it's a penalty.
Good spell of pressure from Burnley. Oster looks to be making a difference. It's Valois who's gone across to take the corner. Different option supplied by Oster. Valois, look who's there. Robbie Savage straight into the tackle. And what might he spark here for Blackburn? Emerton. Blue and white half shirts are moving forward at pace. Pedersen. Burnley have got everybody back now. Jensen. Some of the momentum has been lost. Neill shields his eyes from the sun. Dickoff. Held by Camara. Still gets round the outside and then down. Free kick on the very edge of the penalty area. Dickoff claims inside.
Well, I'm not sure if it was at first outside. and then I think a bit to the end, but it's definitely out.
First offence, the holding began way outside, didn't it? I think they were waiting to see whether Dickoff could wriggle clear and get across it, and in the end, brought it back for the initial offence outside the box. That's what Mike Dean's explaining there.
Yeah. It's good refereeing, of course, and the referee's assistants also played his part in that.
Nice to give him some praise every once in a while. It's right in front of the Blackburn Rovers supporters, and Paul Dickoff has become a big favourite with those people this season. 9 goals, he is their top scorer. And he'll be looking for any sort of poacher's goal he can get from this free kick. And it's going to be Pedersen to try and find Dickoff and co. Just the 3-man wall. Pedersen hits. Thought he might go for the shot. And Jensen was equal and ready to it.
Yeah, you could tell by his body language the goalkeeper thought it was coming in that direction. In the end, he's making it look a very comfortable save. It's a decent enough shot.
Good positioning by Brian Jensen. More Burnley defending to do as the corner swings in, and is immediately headed away by Micah Hyde. Well, this is better. Start to the second half has been much better for both teams.
We've had more incidents in the first 8 minutes of the second half, Guy, than all the first 45.
Blackburn's turn to press. It's Pedersen. Jensen couldn't get through the crowd cleanly. Savage in, tried the shot, swung goalwards. Dickoff, can he turn? He could, but couldn't get anything on target. Pinball in there.
Well, I think you'll see when the ball eventually does come in. Savage bursts in. Andy Todd has the best chance there, that one. They went into Dickoff and then he's immediately swarmed on by Burnley defenders, but Andy Todd had the best chance there.
Burnley were appealing for handball against Dickoff as well, but all irrelevant as the ball squirmed wide. Signs of a limp from Paul Dickoff there. He has been troubled by a groin problem in recent weeks. May have flared up again. Robbie Savage too told us before the match that he needs treatment on his long-standing groin strain. You wouldn't believe it by the way he charges around. That's Duff into Ian Moore's feet. Todd has cleared. Better pace about the game now. Emerton. Gallagher wants it wide. Emerton has checked back the other way for now. Here is Gallagher. Blue and white shirts have arrived in the centre. Dickoff is the deepest. Johansson waiting for service, and Dickoff dispossessed by Duff. Strong, fine challenge.
It's funny, you know, because when Blackburn broke with Emerton, they looked like they had a little bit of an opportunity, but he never ever got his head up at any stage to have a look where his colleagues were.
And then Dickoff had 2 or 3 hacks at the back of Michael Duff's shins. Nelsen watches that one out of play. Steve Cotterill still got that sheet of notes in front of him.
Can't believe he's actually sat down. Come out in a rash.
He'll write a note about it if he does sit down. For too long at least. Camara had to sprint to keep the ball in. Managed to do so for Burnley. Support here from Valois. Whittingham. Pursued by Andy Todd and then half wrestled off the ball by the uncompromising Todd. Plays in the style of his famous father, Coyne. Camara made the space well enough for himself. Whittingham has forced the corner off Lucas Neill. Fans all around us have got to their feet, fists pumping every time Burnley get anywhere near that Blackburn penalty area. The delay and the cheers are because we have an unwelcome visitor on the Turf Moor pitch. We won't give him any more publicity. Let's just say he's not dressed for the weather.
And let's just say he looks very, very cold.
And if you can see from there, you're doing well, Mark. We have a Burnley corner. Valois waits for everybody's attentions to be brought back on the game. Delivered in by Valois, but set pieces have been disappointing. Robbie Savage time and again has been the first defender there to clear it. Whittingham. Can Burnley spring something now? Ian Moor. Valois thought about the first time cross, steadied himself. That's a decent one. Moor will leap. And he leapt too strongly, jumped into the man.
Yeah, he just jumped into Andy Todd, didn't he? Straight away, Todd was under pressure anyway. Once he commits a foul, it's a waste of an opportunity, certainly from Burnley's point of view.
Duff sees off Dickoff. Shirt's being pulled by both players. It's actually gone Burnley's way. Referee has seen the assistant referee's flag and has brought the play back. To Dickoff's astonishment, I don't think Burnley are too pleased about it. They were getting the ball away.
They're both pulling each other.
Paul Dickoff with the loudest shout. Such good strength for someone so small. Never lets anybody push him around, never has. Emerton. Camara. McGreal. Friedel. Rolls out to Neill. Strong challenge from Camara, former Guinea international. Neill with the Blackburn throw-in. Brett Emerton is looking for some space, which he has found. Neill. Todd. Bounced off the feet, rather, of Neill. And it's some good scrapping shown by Tony Grant. He hasn't come away with the ball, though. Tugay. Here's Ryan Nelsen. Pedersen. Chance for the shot. All was swinging far and away wide off his right boot. Hughes has taken to prowling the touchline now. Scored some 26 FA Cup goals in his illustrious career. 3 of those in the 5 FA Cup finals he played in. 4 times a winner. Nelsen. There's Micah Hyde seeing off Tugay. Valois. Whittingham will put pressure on Andy Todd and force him to put it out of play. Whittingham managed to squirt the ball across, and Tugay has thrashed it back from whence it came. But at least Blackburn Rovers know that in this second half they've got a lot more defending to do. Camara. There's John McGreal. Wearing the captain's armband since Sinclair it went off. Valois couldn't touch it through the gap. Blackburn streak away with Pedersen. It's just behind Tugay. Emerton joins in. No real options on for him. Who can he find? What can he find, Brett Emerton? Gets all the way through and then has forced a corner, rather fortunately, I feel.
Well, what started as a promising breakaway, in the end, I know they've won a corner, but they're almost going up a one-way street.
Blackburn Rovers are about to make a change. Stephen Reid is ready to come on. Getting instructions from Mark Bowen, Mark Hughes' right-hand man. In the meantime, it's all about a Robbie Savage corner, which Nelsen and Todd have moved forward for. Fired in high. Up goes Andy Todd. Nelsen hit him, bounced off him, and he couldn't get a shot in.
Well, That's 2 occasions in the second half when the ball has been bouncing around in that Burnley area and they've struggled to deal with it.
Pedersen. Pedersen drifts away from Duff. Savage. Nils-Eric Johansson. Gallagher was pleading for the ball and got it played into his feet. Not done a great deal with it though. Building from the halfway line again with Andy Todd. Neill. Emerton. Valois tries again to dispossess the Aussie. He's managed it this time. Savage. Good pressure from Burnley. Every time a Blackburn player has the ball, he sees a claret shirt buzzing around him. John Oster's doing it that time. Now a little bit of space. Nelsen taking his chance to move forward. And that's a pretty poor cross.
Well, it's a waste really, because under all sorts of pressure from Burnley, Blackburn actually kept the ball very well.
Here's Oster. Burnley certainly looked to have a lot more of an attacking threat about them since he came on. He's drifted right in field for the moment, John Oster. Burnley, though, have some defending to do. It's Cahill. Emerton screams for him to switch the ball over to the far side of the field. Emerton hasn't obliged, he's found Dickoff instead. He will swing it over, but straight into the gloves of Brian Jensen. And the pace of the game has really picked up now. Oster. Whittingham had to wait for the ball to arrive. Hyde. Valois on the left wing. He's past Neill. Now he's got 3 Blackburn defenders to deal with, but has, in the end, done all their work for them.
Well, just like a couple of minutes before when he broke inside as well, Valois just tries to beat that extra man when really after beating the second one there, just deliver it in.
Blackburn Rovers change made by Mark Hughes. Stephen Reid is coming on, the former Millwall midfielder. And on it is, he's coming on for Tugay, who, to be honest, hasn't really made his mark on the game. So often an influential playmaker, but not this time.
No, it's normally his passing that really hurts the opposition, but can't remember any sequences of that today, certainly.
On comes Stephen Reid, who might just supply a little more energy to that Blackburn Rovers midfield.
I think what they'll do is they'll make Savage just sit and let sort of Stephen Reid play off him, get him forward a little bit.
McGreal steers it back to the safety of Brian Jensen. Moor. Nelsen's there to confidently head it out of play. Camara. Valois. Managed to ride the challenge of Neill. Micah Hyde was demanding it. Valois spotted another option, John Oster. And Oster will be happy to take on Johansson and get into the area and square. Off Micah Hyde, it bounced around, it is a Burnley corner.
Well, I thought Micah Hyde actually had the last touch, but better play. This time Valois released Oster early. He took on the 2 players. Micah Hyde makes a run to the near post. I think he touched that last.
Blackburn were absolutely sure he touched it last. But it's a John Oster corner for Burnley. Johansson heads away. That will come the home side, though. Moor. Squirts it off the legs for another corner. Hurt himself in the process. No goals, but Burnley lead the corner count 7-4 now. Can they make one count? The delivery is down to Valois. Just too high for Cahill. Johansson went in with Duff. It's back with Valois again. Hyde. all a little too close. Cahill goes in with boot raised, too high. You can hear, I'm sure, in the background what the Burnley fans think about that, but it is a Blackburn free kick and it's taken so quickly by Friedel. Pedersen, here's Dickoff! And a horrible collision as Dickoff tried to fire his shot in.
Well, it's wonderfully quick thinking by Friedel. A long punt up the field into Pedersen. And obviously Dickoff got his shot. I think it's McGreal, is it, who went in to make the challenge? Yeah, it is McGreal. But that was Route 1 football from Friedel. Friedel was very, very quick with the free kick. He just ran out of his goals and played Pedersen in with arguably the best pass of the game.
Good vision from Friedel. And we need some good work from the physios on either side now, because Paul Dickoff's leg was trapped in between John McGreal's legs and both are hurt. Work to do for Burnley's Andy Mitchell and Blackburn's Dave Fev. Is that the groin again he was holding there? He has had problems with that, Dickoff. Past the midway point of the second half. Still we wait for a goal at Turf Moor. Burnley fans, though, have enjoyed what they've seen in the second half.
I think slightly more worried in terms of the injuries is McGreal, who I don't think he's moved yet. But Dickoff is trying tentatively to get to his feet. John McGreal's not moved at all, so we hope obviously that's not too serious.
Breathing deeply as well. Burnley could lose their second captain of the day here. Well, he is compos mentis. But it's certainly a painful one for the stand-in skipper. Just explaining exactly what happened to the physio so he can dish out the best possible treatment. It's come at a time of the game when Burnley were enjoying themselves, Mark.
Yeah, certainly. And whether it's like, I think it may be a stomach injury, to be honest with you guys. Just the way that his legs look okay. Just every time the physio touched him, sort of chest area, he was saying it's very, very sore.
And some detailed instruction, some passionate instruction being dished out by Steve Cotterill there to John Oster. There's John McGreal as the pressure points felt to see just exactly where the pain is and what the problem might be. And John McGreal, 32, is a seasoned old warhorse. He does not go down easily. They're just waiting. No decision on substitution just as yet. Fans of both sides are singing now. Just while we have the stoppage in play, it's become an off-the-field contest as to who can make the most noise. I think Burnley are just shading it. They do, of course, have 3/4 of this ground at least. Blackburn's leading scorer looks as though he at least will be able to continue. Burnley will continue for now. A man down, they've yet to decide.
Yeah, I think Duff's got into the back four alongside Cahill, and so Micah Hyde gone to right back.
They've done that for now. They do have another option if McGreal has to leave the field, because Duff can play central defender and has done often, and Lee Roche is a right back on the bench. There's Lucas Neill. There is Michael Duff, his first involvement as a central defender today. Oster's done well there. Whittingham's done even better and just ran into the last man. It was Ryan Nelson's challenge.
Yeah, you can see what he's trying to do. He's trying to beat Nelsen and play Ian Moor in, and made a really good run.
Gallagher. Camara bars the way. He's past Valois' rather tame challenge. Pedersen. Emerton, not enough on it. Not a bad flick actually for Reed. And it's hammered behind by Cahill for the corner.
That's a really good defensive header by Cahill as well. He's got a knock also. It just comes out to Reed, he returns it early and just gets in front of his man, Cahill.
John McGreal has patched himself up for now. He's retaken the field. Corner fired over deep. Blocked by Camara twice. Another corner, other side. He's managing to smile and relax, Mo Camara, in the midst of all this. Over comes Robbie Savage to a great burst of applause by the Blackburn Rovers fans in that corner. In from Savage, and Jensen catches and holds, and just urges for everybody to just take a breather. Jensen goes for distance. Emerton. Valois. Switches the emphasis of the play towards John Oster, who's in a race to try and keep it in with Johansson. He's happy to do just the opposite and let it run. Well, Blackburn are going to be forced to do a change after all, because Paul Dickov, I don't think, can continue. Jamal Johnson is going to be his replacement. It's a change that's going to happen now. So the leading scorer, Dickov, is going to leave the action. And coming on, 19-year-old Jamal Johnson, who made his first Blackburn Rovers start in the last round of the Cup against Colchester United, and he scored. Is an interesting one, Johnson, born in New Jersey. His family moved across to England when he was only 5 years old. So born in the States but raised in Macclesfield. He's come up through the Blackburn Academy. Apparently, Mark, he catches pigeons. He's pretty quick.
There's a few to catch as well on this pitch.
And a half minutes of the 90 remaining. And if we look at the overall tally of shots on target, Burnley are struggling. Savage, Oster, dispossessed by Stephen Reid. Pedersen, finds Jamal Johnson. His first involvement is to be dispossessed by Gary Cahill. The two teenagers do battle again, and Johnson has brought down the player on loan from Aston Villa. He's barely had to change his kit in making that move. News from the touchline that it is indeed Paul Dickov's long-standing groin problem that's flared up in that challenge with John McGreal. Jensen. Only a hopeful one, really, that from the goalkeeper. Camara. Ian Moor had to put the brakes on. Couldn't adjust his direction, but Savage has given it away to Whittingham. Here's Moor. Todd forces him wide. Moor holds on, and he was just too wide in the end to pick out Valois.
It's a pity because he'd actually done quite well in holding the ball up.
And ball was spotted there. It's going to be a Burnley free kick. We're into the last quarter of an hour. The East Lancashire derby, the oldest of all the derbies, is still locked at 0-0. Can somebody find a goal to secure local bragging rights and a place in the FA Cup quarter-final? It's that important. Valois in, Johansson away. Grant, in came Savage strongly and fairly. Gallagher. Grant climbed high above Savage. This is Hyde. Pedersen. Cannons in between players. The ball did cross the touchline in the midst of all that. And it crossed for a Burnley throw-in. Was that guesswork? Mark Hughes is particularly annoyed.
I would have thought so.
Cahill. Hyde. Now John Oster. Looks so lively since coming on just before half-time. Camara. A little bit of space for him to move into here. Oster's held back, so too Tony Grant. Michael Duff is making an adventurous run forward down the right. Oster's ignored him and found Peter Whittingham. Straight into Nelsen. Whittingham then held Savage back, and it was well spotted.
Nelsen did really well, actually, the Blackburn centre-back, because he saw the danger when the ball was played into Whittingham, was out very, very quickly to confront him.
Grant. Goes Johansson. Nils-Eric Johansson able to move into Burnley territory. Not had a chance to get forward too often today. Emerton takes on Camara. Which way is he going? Not quite as nimble on his dancing feet as Cristiano Ronaldo. Blackburn Rovers throw once they finally get the ball back from the ever so friendly Burnley fans. Neill. Reed. Here's Johnson. Emerton. He's managed to squeeze it over. And Jensen had read it and was then barged by Morten, Gamst, Pedersen. Takes some barging.
Certainly does.
Swatted him off like a fly.
Just a looping cross, wasn't it, by Emerton?
And now John McGreal has had to admit defeat. He's tried to soldier on since that challenge with Paul Dickoff that's already forced Dickoff to leave the field. And for the second time today, Burnley have had to pass on the captain's armband. I think it's been delivered to Micah Hyde, but in the meantime McGreal will go off and his place will be taken by Lee Roche, a Bolton-born player, formerly of Manchester United, never quite broke through at Old Trafford. He'll take up a right-back role, and Michael Duff will stay in the centre of defence.
Well, they've lost the two most experienced defenders, Burnley.
Whittingham. Valois. Back comes Emerton to challenge, ably assisted by Savage. Gallagher. Has support from Lucas Neill. Gallagher instead is looking for the shot himself. It will come Neill's way. Here's Pedersen. Tremendous block by Lee Roche. It's his first involvement, his first touch of the ball. And Burnley carry on with John Oster on it. Whittingham. Moor has to wait for some more support. Squirts it downfield for Whittingham to chase. Andy Todd caught by Whittingham, too eager to dispossess him.
Well, I'm not sure about the block insofar as what Lee Roche actually knew about it, Guy, but it's a tremendous one. He swung over to the far post, Pedersen coming in to attack it. Just an early delivery from the right-hand side. And just look at Lee Roche. Just hit him on the back of the head.
He spotted it actually, Roche.
Back of the arm, actually.
Back of the arm, actually, yeah. He had a look over his shoulder as he went with the runner into the middle, and he knew that there was a danger behind him. Good awareness. Didn't reach Whittingham. Stephen Reed has intercepted on behalf of Blackburn Rovers. We're into the last 10 minutes. The late goals in yesterday's FA Cup fifth-round ties did rather favour the underdog. Sheffield United with a last-minute equaliser at Arsenal. Leicester with a last-minute winner at Charlton.
Brentford as well, is it?
Brentford came back, of course, from 2-0 down at Southampton, so they all were playing away from home, mind you. Duff. Camara. Nelsen, a little bump there into the back of Ian Moor, who's done well, stood his ground and waited for the defender to commit the inevitable foul. Substitutions are coming thick and fast now. Blackburn Rovers to make another alteration. Paul Gallagher. He's going to exit stage left. And it's going to be David Thompson who will supply plenty of bounce to the Blackburn team for the rest of this game. Paul Gallagher never really able to impose himself and get any chances on goal. Is that a move to shore it up, Mark?
No, I don't necessarily think so. I think they'll still try to look to the win. I think what they might start to do is go a little bit long and use the pace of Johnson.
That's Grant. And Nelsen is there to tidy up for Blackburn. Maybe Pedersen will push on into a more central striking role for Blackburn now as well.
It looks like it might be the case, certainly.
Well fielded by the Burnley mascot, that, to get the game hurried on. I tell you, Bertie B's gone down injured. There's Whittingham. Valois. Oster. Finds Lee Roche. There are plenty of claret shirts in the centre. He's not able to find one, but Stephen Reid decided that safety was the best course of action then, whacked it away as far away from his goal as he could.
Well, he did well actually, because he anticipated the danger and then was unfortunately facing his own goal, so he's trying to help it over his shoulder, hook it away.
He did well actually not to concede the corner as well. It is just a throw. Will it be as good as a corner? Mo Camara is going to take it. Hyde is forward in the penalty area. Camara hurls in. Todd, rather ambitious shots for handball from the crowd. None from Burnley players. Camara, done well. Camara's fired in. And Brad Friedel met it and held on. Not had much to do, Friedel. What he's done well. He's not a flashy goalkeeper, but he is a very, very consistent, solid one. Roche, he showed good energy since coming on. Hyde. Whittingham. Jensen, strong challenge. Savage, given away. Here's Micah Hyde. Valois screaming for the ball. Steps inside the attempted tackle of Neill. No further progress made though. It's back with Camara. Hyde did well, but unable to keep it. That's too much of himself. It's Andy Todd now. And Jamal Johnson for Blackburn Rovers. Nelsen. Come on Burnley is the shout from the home fans. One last big effort all round from players and fans alike. Goes for Blackburn too, mind you. And this is Lucas Neill, leaving Valois behind. Flipped away. There's Michael Duff back there, and this is John Oster now. It's good composure from Oster. And the Welsh international finds Ian Moor. He's wriggled his way free of Ryan Nelsen. Roche. A little too far ahead of Peter Whittingham, but Burnley will keep on pressing.
That was good play, wasn't it, by Burnley? Good build-up play. John Oster very, very cool on the ball. Eventually it's a decent cross as well.
And Burnley are no way thinking about the riches of a replay at Ewood Park. It's all about beating your local rivals here. Camara. Reid and Savage left it to one another. That's Hyde. Never got the angle. His sight of goal was blocked, in fact.
That's a tough ask to try and score from there, even try and hit the target under pressure from Savage, Micah Hyde.
We have another alteration. And Ian Moor is getting a standing ovation from the Burnley fans. I think they recognise just what a difficult job he's had up there.
Well, it's almost been an impossible task for him. He's been asked to accommodate 4 defenders nearly all the game, work extremely hard, run the channels and still try and get in the penalty area. He's worked his socks off for Burnley.
And it's the veteran Graham Branch who's come on in his place. 33-year-old versatile player. He's played in just about every position for his various clubs. He's up top for the rest of this for Burnley. And I think he knows by that pass he'll be doing a lot of chasing. Hughes, and you could see He wasn't happy with the way his side were making a real meal of keeping the ball there. Oster kept it in. Roche. Attacked by Valois. It's Lucas Neill who got it away. Duff. Roche. Pedersen got himself in between man and ball and has won a free kick for Blackburn.
It was a foul. It was a scissors tackle by Roche as well.
Savage is not in any great hurry here. Considered the quick one and left it to his defenders. Seems a long time ago since he finally left Birmingham for Blackburn after that transfer saga. Pedersen down in the area, and Mike Dean has given it Burnley's way. Look at the look of astonishment, and a yellow card for Morten Gamst Pedersen for simulation. He's being challenged by Micah Hyde. There's barely any contact.
Well done, the referee.
Mike Dean has done everything pretty well today. A tick for the ref, who I'm sure he knew was going to be in for a difficult day today on the occasion of a passionate derby, especially when two sides like these haven't faced each other for a while. I'll tell you what, he's got more work to do here as well, because he's going to book Robbie Savage. Not the first referee to do so, he won't be the last. Savage has walked away. I don't think he needs to ask his name.
No. He knew straight away as well.
It's Robbie Savage's second Blackburn Rovers booking. Got his first just a minute into his debut against Bolton. Cahill up there. This is Valois. Trying to find room. Savage is all over him. Valois into the box, he'll have to try again, but Blackburn have numbers back en masse. Cahill. Burnley's fans sense something here. Some real scrapping going on. Here's Branch. Camara. Johnson's back there having to do some defending for Blackburn, and he's conceded a throw. We're in the last minute of the 90. Pedersen. Roche takes it down and away from Stephen Reid.
He actually did really well, Guy, because he fell for a moment, Roche, and it looked for a second as though the ball was going to play in behind him, but he got up and recovered.
There's Andy Todd now. Of the two sides, it looks as though Blackburn will be much happier with the draw here now. Todd. Pedersen didn't get the touch that he wanted. Up goes the board, and Burnley fans like what they see. There's at least going to be another 5 minutes.
Well, I like that due to the injuries to McGreal and Dickoff, wasn't it?
Camara, charged down by David Thompson.
Well, it has been a better second half. It doesn't say a lot for the first half, but even so, chances have been few and far between all game.
Should really have read that, shouldn't we, with both sides having pretty poor goal-scoring records in their league games. Now then, there's an idiot on the pitch here. Blackburn have cleared Ryan Nelsen, but there's an idiot who's attempting to square up to Robbie Savage, and Ryan Nelsen and Stephen Reid are protecting the Welshman. Well, let's get him chucked off and get on with the game. That's one of the worst tackles I've seen all day. Well, finally we can get shot of him and play the last few minutes.
You think you've seen it all on the football pitch, don't you? They've actually got cells here, you know. They've got cells underneath one of the stands. I think it might be occupying one of them for a little while.
I think it will be, and Robbie Savage is particularly upset by that.
He won't be getting asked what he wants to eat either, I don't think.
Been something in the water this weekend, and we must get rid of it. Robbie Savage was walking towards the intruder, and it was big Ryan Nelsen, the captain of New Zealand, who stood in the way and said, "Get through me first."
I'll tell you the other thing as well is it doesn't matter what time you kick off, you still get nutters, don't you? Whether it's lunchtime or tea time, doesn't make any difference.
Well, it will extend the 5 minutes of stoppage time. And we can finally get on with the remainder of the game.
You know, in a strange kind of way then, and we're presuming because of the end he came on, he's a Burnley fan, but they just started to get a little bit of momentum going for the last few minutes. 5 minutes extra time, they're thinking, come on, we might get a goal here, and all of a sudden, it's gone flat again.
Burnley's better behaved fans are getting to their feet and trying to spur on their side for one last final push forward. Ball's at the other end at the moment, though. Lee Roche can only find Brett Emerton of Blackburn. Sees off Oster's challenge. Pedersen's kept it in. Reid. Thompson. He likes to shoot from range. It didn't open up for him there, though. Todd. Johansson. Andy Todd. Pedersen making the run, and Brian Jensen's made an even better one. Rushed from his goal. Used to have a reputation of being a little rash in his decision-making, but that one was spot on.
I bet nobody dared tell him, though.
Steve Cotterill urging his side on to find a winner. At the very least, he will be taking his side back to Ewood Park on the 1st of March.
I think you have to commend Burnley as well, second half. You know, they've had to make all sorts of defensive changes. They've had 2 different formations at one time, and they've done very, very well. They've looked a better team in the second half, arguably, than Blackburn.
It's been difficult to see which was the Premiership, which was the Championship side. Thompson couldn't find a way through. Burnley are pulling everybody back. They daren't concede anything now. There's Thompson. And now Lucas Neill. Across comes Camara. And it'll go behind for a corner. Look at Camara. He'd be wise to just check those protests a little, and he's going to get a yellow card.
He's got to have a yellow. This is completely berated the official. That thing is they're not going to change their mind. And the referee's assistant is probably, what, 5 foot away from the incident?
Camara gets a booking and then trots back to his defensive duties.
Almost caught in Camara.
Morten, Gamst, Pedersen to try and find one true telling ball for Blackburn Rovers. Everybody back defending for Burnley. Over it comes, but it's not good enough. Simple as that.
What a waste.
None of the corners have been, have they?
We had one in the first half. A well-worked one from the sort of bottom end here away to our left-hand side, where we managed to get a shot in, Burnley.
Savage. Returned to him by Pedersen. Savage has lost out to John Oster. Burnley breakaway. Whittingham was always struggling to get to that. It wasn't a great ball by Oster. And he's been beaten to the chase for the loose ball by Lucas Neill, who's asked Jamal Johnson to get his skates on here. Support from Reid. Johnson on the fly, and the run is brought to an end. Still Blackburn scrap away. Came off Emerton last. It's a goal kick. And it might be just about it for the afternoon.
Well, last 2 minutes have been like a schoolboy match, haven't they? Everybody chasing the ball, and it's great.
Look at the referee puffing and blowing.
I mean, the quality's not been good, but, you know, for intrigue, and it's been so absorbing as well. And chances and few and far between, but the replay will be a decent game, I think, because they've got this one out of the way, got the petty squabble out of the way, and play football in the second match.
And Blackburn Rovers know they're going to be in for a game at Ewood Park. It is all over, at least for now. Steve Cotterill's Burnley can be proud of their efforts today as East Lancashire rivalries resumed at Turf Moor, but it's finished all square, deadlocked at 0-0, and it's back to Ewood Park, 8 miles up the road for a replay. Final score at Turf Moor, Burnley 0, Blackburn Rovers 0.